Alright guys, what's going on? Brian back here with another recap and review video. This time reviewing last night's episode of NXT. So I'm just going to run through everything that went down. Of course, last night we saw the start of the Dusty Rhodes Classic tournament where the winners will earn an opportunity at the NXT Tag Team Championships. So let's just get into it. Um, of course, this also featured fallout from last week's New Year's Evil, which I have not seen yet, so I have to go back and check it out. Um, but we in the opening match, Candice LeRae defeated Shotzi Blackheart with the help of Indy Hartwell, who got involved near the end of the match to distract Shotzi when she was going up on the top rope, and that allowed Candice to hit a um, spinning neckbreaker off the top rope onto Shotzi and pin her 1, 2, 3. We've heard from NXT champion Finn Balor talking about last week's NXT title defense against Kyle O'Reilly, which he won. He also mentioned that um, just like Takeover 31, this time around it was Kyle O'Reilly who had to um, eat his food through a straw. Um, Kyle O'Reilly suffered a broken jaw during the match last week, and Finn Balor made note of that. Um, then he basically brought up about whoever wants a shot at his NXT title to step up. Here comes the brands, Pete Dunne and the NXT Tag Team Champions Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Pete Dunne basically made a statement saying that he wants that NXT title and he's not going to be waiting in line anymore. And then the three of them attacked Finn Balor. Balor fought back, but then the numbers game caught up with him. And here comes Kyle O'Reilly to make the save. He gets beat down, and then here comes Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. And they chase Dunne, Lorcan, and Burch away. So that was it for that. Then we had a Johnny Gargano interview where he talked about his upcoming match with Dexter Lumis. He also talked about how him and Austin Theory, as well as Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, are going to win both Dusty Road Classic Cups because there's going to be a men's Dusty Classic and a women's Dusty Classic tag team tournament. And the women's tag tournament will start next week on NXT. So then Austin Theory walked up with an envelope, a gift of sort from Dexter Lumis. He gave it to Johnny, and Johnny opened up the envelope, and it was two pictures depicting Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. And that was pretty much it for that. Johnny got angry and threw the pictures down on the ground, and that was it. In the first of the three Dusty Classics for the men's tag team tournament, we had the Grizzled Young Veterans defeating Everrise. It was an okay match. We heard from Raquel Gonzalez, who made a statement last week, defeating Rhea Ripley in a last woman standing match. This week's episode, she mentioned that she wants the NXT Women's title and that she is gonna go after Io Shirai. So that was it for that. We heard from Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, who talked about being the first women team in history to win the Dusty Classic for the women's tournament. Then we had NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano. He would defeat Dexter Lumis with help from Austin Theory. After the match, Lumis would go after Theory. Then Gargano and and Theory would double team Loomis. Gargano would use a chair, or would try to use a chair on Loomis. However, Kushida came out and made the save, locked in the hoverboard lock on Gargano, while Loomis locked in the silencer on Theory outside. So looks like they're going to be building to a Kushida Gargano, maybe NXT North American title match somewhere down the road. Um, let's see what else we had here. We had an interview with the Brand of Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch. They talked about how all the teams want a shot at the NXT Tag Team titles. They said that they run NXT now, not Undisputed Era. Then Pete Dunne got on the mic and talked about Kyle O'Reilly getting in his way of the NXT title, and he said that let's go take them out. Let's go take him out of the way. So, and we'll see that a little bit later in the main event. Then we had a bit of an interview segment between Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa ahead of their Fight Pit match next week. So that was it for that. We had an interview. They had an interview with Undisputed Era's Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, talking about their match against Breezango on tonight's episode, or last night's episode. Sorry about that. In the Dusty Classic. Then we had the debut of a new team. For those of you that watch Impact or watched Impact Wrestling, we saw the debut last night of MSK, formerly the Rascals, and it was Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, who are now known in NXT as Nash Carter, I believe it is, and Wes Lee. So that's their new names in NXT. They would advance in the Dusty Classic, defeating Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott in a very impressive performance and a good way to for them to make their debut. We heard from Scarlett, who was basically doing a weird tarot card reading. She made reference of that they got rid of Damian Priest last week, with Karrion Kross defeated Damian Priest last week at New Year's Evil, and that next is Finn Balor. So it looks like Karrion Kross is another man that Finn Balor is going to have to worry about in the future as far as the NXT Championship is concerned. Xia Li, who made her return last week with a new attitude and a more vicious side, she defeated basically a jobber. They didn't even introduce her opponent, so I just put question marks, and that was pretty much it. So Xia Li picked up the win in that one. We heard from Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter, who cut a promo talking about how they're going to be the first to win the Women's Dusty Classic. We had a fight during the commercial break that broke out between Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott, who had lost earlier on in the night last night on NXT. And then Bronson Reed would interrupt and basically try to tell Isaiah Swerve Scott to calm down and just calm down and let it go. And this did not sit well with Isaiah Swerve Scott. And then in the main event, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong defeated Breezango in the Dusty Classic to advance. So yeah, this one kind of broke down near the end because Kyle O'Reilly was in the corner of Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. Of course, he was not at 100%. Here comes Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They go after Kyle. Finn Balor comes out to make the save. He gets beat down, Of course, Kyle O'Reilly had a broken jaw, so those three went after him with his jaw. And then apparently Finn Balor had some arm injury, and they went after him. They went after his arm. So, and that was not enough to distract Adam Cole from hitting a super kick on Fandango, who was coming off the top rope to pick up the win. So, last night's episode of NXT I thought was pretty good. I thought Dynamite and I mean between NXT and AEW Dynamite last night, um, I thought Dynamite was a little bit better. No disrespect to NXT, but I thought it was Dynamite was a little bit better. So, um, but yeah, the matches for next week's NXT are as followed. We are going to be seeing two more men's Dusty Classic tag team matches. Lucha House Party's Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado. They're going to be taking on Imperium. And in the second one, it's going to be Kushida and Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. Then the women's tournament starts next week with Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro taking on Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez. Um, the teams for that women's Dusty Classic are as followed. Um, we have Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, and Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez. So Carter and Catanzaro are going to be taking on Storm and Martinez. And then also next week, Tommaso Ciampa takes on Timothy Thatcher in the Fight Pit match. So last night's episode of NXT I thought was okay. I thought Dynamite was better. Sorry if my voice is low. I'm just trying to record this video real with a low voice. I don't want to talk too loud. So yeah, if you guys watched last night's episode of NXT, let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. This has been my NXT recap for last night's episode of NXT. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.